paranormal fans. Welcome back to a brand new season of Black Cat Crossing podcast. I'm Solie.
I'm Barry.
And I'm Z.
We hope you had a fantastic start to the new year and are on track with your resolutions. Before we get into today's topic, we want to express our heartfelt gratitude to everyone who joined us last season. And now we're on to season 2, which we're quite excited about. This season, Ash will be joining Barry, Z, and I, and she brings a unique voice to our discussions. And we're really excited for you all to get to know her.
Hey, I'm Ash.
We will be discussing a different mythological creature each month, so make sure to tune in so you don't miss out. So on that note, let's get into this month's topic. Fairies or the Fae?
Dun, dun, dun.
In today's children's fairy tales, fairies are frequently depicted as small, otherworldly people with wings and gleaming with dazzling radiance. They also possessed peculiar magical abilities that differentiate them from humans, despite their small stature. From the 18th century, stories were used to create modern fairies before they were written down. If we examine the concept of fairies, we can see that they have existed for much longer than most people believe. Perhaps the earliest form of fairies can be found loosely in Greek mythological beings such as nymphs and satyrs. Depictions of fairies are varied, and fairy tales and folklore contain a wide range of characters. Others are vilified and antagonistic to mortals, while others are kind. Some are seen to be beautiful, while others were thought to be hideous and awful. Fairies can be any size or shape, tall or short, fat or skinny, and there is no precise definition of what they look like. Fairies can have a variety of magical abilities. But where did these beings come from? That is a long and quite separate topic altogether, and we won't be discussing in depth the origins of fairy in today's episodes. However, there is a bit of fairy history, all speculative, of course.
Of course. Of course.
The Tuatha Danann. The Tuatha Danann were a mystical race with magical abilities. The majority of them were adored godlike entities or divine beings. These people were also known to worship the goddess Danu. The name Tuatha Danann literally translates to people of Danu. It is unknown how the Tuatha Danann came to be in Ireland. According to some stories, those people arrived by flying into the area and landing. They were in the shape of mist or fog as they flew through the air. According to some reports, they landed on black clouds. The latter led many to assume they were sent from heaven rather than earth. Surprisingly, some individuals claimed they are aliens.
So I kind of lean towards that idea, honestly, about them being a type of mist or in energy form as their true form. But that's just based on things that I have read in the past.
Look, I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens.
I think of them as like folklore, like they're just stories. Like people make up stories to kind of like describe what's happening in their culture, in their society at the time, and that's how they deal with things. Like if kids aren't behaving, they make a scary monster up so to kind of get the kids back in line. Like they tell the story.
Aliens.
I don't know about the aliens. That's new to me. I've been wrapping my brain around that.
I don't know because to me every story has a little itty bitty type of facts in it. So, but
Aliens.
That's me. You and your aliens. You know, I really think Z is an alien. So I'm just putting it out there. Okay.
That's a rabbit hole for a whole other day.
I can't believe you're out here outing me. Like, what the heck?
Just saying, Z. You know. Just saying.
There have been several theories about their disappearance. Nonetheless, the truth remains unknown. Each territory has its own assortment of fae, and surprisingly, the names might be similar, but might not mean the same thing. We will instead discuss the different kinds of fairy from around the world and in the two courts. I'm here for the aliens.
You're obsessed.
Yes, you are obsessed.
I've learned something new about you today. I had no idea.
The courts of the Fae. The majority of fairy kingdom denizens will fall into one of three categories: neutral, Solie, or unseelie fairies. The court of the Solie. The Fae of the Solie court is those who have a generally amiable disposition and are ruled by the summer court and, to a lesser degree, the spring court. They have a proclivity for mischief, and the Solie court Fae can freely travel to the middle world. The middle world, our world, is thought to exist between two different levels. Each is a full world. The layers are delicate and thin, and one might occasionally reach through to touch one of the other worlds. This is a whole other discussion in and of itself, as it deals somewhat in the area of different realms on the same plane.
Yes. Yeah, that I could go down a rabbit hole with this one.
This whole thing is just a giant rabbit hole.
Oh, goodness.
I think we should have done 2 episodes.
Right. The court of the Unseelie. The lords of the winter and autumn courts lead the Fae to the Unseelie court, who tend to be malevolent. The Unseelie Fae is often cruel, and they are inclined to attack without warning. Most humans in the middle world are aware of the importance of avoiding contact with the Unseelie. However, doing so can be difficult when such Fae are free to lie and deceive those with whom they interact. So, are the Unseelie cruel because they have to oversee the winter when it's, like, gross out? Or does that have, like, nothing to do with it? like, is there some kind of correlation there? Like, I mean, I would be pretty freaking pissed off if I had to rule over the winter, too.
Yeah, I would be, too. Like, come on.
Like, I
would think that they would be most comfortable then because they've acclimatized to it. It's like
you don't acclimatize to this.
No.
Like,
yes,
you have no idea. You live in this nice tropical island.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, guys, as much as I'm always on your backs about how much snow is lovely, despite the fact that you're always complaining about how cold it is. If I had to move to like a really cold place, I would be miserable. I know that. So
Solie, you live on an island, but you're always so hot. You haven't figured it out yet? We live in the cold, and we're still freaking cold.
Right, so, like, wouldn't you be miserable? Like, is that why they're cruel? It's miserable.
Sorry, but during winter, I become a very angry bear. Okay?
Well, maybe it's just maybe that's what it is. It's all they know. It's all they know how to be. So that's just how they are. Maybe it's just a cruel cut on the whole. So yeah, you could be right, Z. I think you're maybe onto something.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, am I up? All right. Have you heard of a bubble fairy? That's exactly what alvins are. They are tiny, translucent, paper white skinned fairies that don't have wings. As water fairies, they travel by riding inside of bubbles. Alvins also have a second name, Otter Manor, due to their ability to transform into an otter. Bandit, no barking. Sorry, guys. My dog had something to say about that.
I love how your voice, like, slips into this very professional.
I practice, bitches. Otter manors are found in the Netherlands and are known to be out on the full moon dancing across the water, especially on their sacred Elbe River. Alvin are harmless unless their river or homes are disrupted by humans, so basically stay off their lawn.
Shaking their little fists.
Oh my god, you...
I wish there was video.
Yeah, right, because I, like, shook my fist.
It'd be like the grumpy old man face.
Same.
Oh, God. I just, like, they sound really pretty. Okay, I gotta get my dog out of the room. Hold on. He wants to be a part of this podcast. A brownie is typically a very short, grumpy Scottish male house fairy that comes out at night. They often help with household chores. but only if they deem you worthy of their help. Beggars also can't be choosers, meaning they will only do chores they want to do. These are your neat freak fairies. Also, weirdly enough, if given clothing, it is seen as an insult and will leave the household if done so. And never give them sour milk. They can become quite mad about it and become violent and leave forever. Some have likened the behavior to that of the Bogart. The female version of the brownie is from Irish lore and is called a beantie, or a banty. The name is loosely translated to woman of the house. Not only will she help with the household chores, but will also care for the children and animals too.
These are cute.
so-
I'd actually would love to have those.
Right? I need a freaking brownie.
I need one, but I think I'm not worthy. That's why I have not seen one.
So they're kind of like house elves.
Wait, what?
They're kind of like house elves.
Yeah,
Just
I want
picturing
one.
like when Winky gets mad when she gets clothes.
Well, maybe this is where the missing socks go to. You don't give them the clothes, but they take socks for you.
I swear to God, I think elves are taking socks because I buy brand new freaking socks and I'm left with no pairs.
Master has given Dobby socks.
Yeah, I
Dobby is free.
Oh, gosh. All right. Don't mistake a Bogart for a brownie fairy. Though it is said they are to look alike, Bogarts have long, thin noses, and brownies don't. But they are the original boogeyman in Scotland. Some are tied to certain houses and families and behave in poltergeist-like manner, whilst others prefer the outdoors, like bogs or swamps, and those are thought to be the cause of disappearing children. Bogarts typically prefer confined dark spaces like small cupboards. Fun fact! In Harry Potter, the Prisoner of Azkaban, the Bogart appeared as the embodiment of the nearest person's fear during a defense against the dark arts class.
Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
I do. I actually looked it up because I was like, wait, it is? That's a Bogart? I was like, oh, I have to see if this is true. I can't be telling lies on the podcast.
Yeah.
And it was totally true. Solie wrote that part in, and I thought it was a really fun fact.
There's also another Bogart in
Spiderwick Chronicles?
in the Harry Potter series, in Order of the Phoenix.
Is there?
Yep. Harry catches Mrs. Weasley trying to get rid of the Bogart, and it
Right.
turns into like the dead twins, dead Ron, dead
Yes,
Harry.
yes. Oh, right. That's
I
true. Yes.
remember.
Yes, I remember now. You said that, and I was racking my brain trying to figure out where. But yes,
Yeah.
that's true. You're right.
Well, now I will have to reread Harry Potter again.
That's not a hard feat.
No, it's not. I'll probably get through it like fast.
Bean Sahid, aka the Banshee, is a type of death fairy that typically appears to people who are destined to die violently and painfully. This can include murder, which is why the Banshee is best known as a death fairy. She commonly takes on one of three forms: a slender, beautiful woman, a meticulous and masterful matron, or a horrifying, hideous hag. Typically, if you see her washing bloody clothes, you're fucking doomed, because you or one of your family members is going to die. This is... Go ahead. You guys tried so hard to hold it together. You can just laugh.
Sorry, but come on. We're doomed.
This is why she is commonly called the washer at the fords. Another indicator of her presence is sonorous wailing or terrifying screeching. This is how she earned the name Wailing Woman. Hopefully you hear this before you see her, because you might still have a chance of survival.
Fun fact, in the Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Seamus Finnegan, his fear is a banshee, and that's what his Bogart turns into.
That is actually interesting. I don't remember that for some weird reason. So
Yeah, me too.
Oh, don't worry.
What?
I'm full of all kinds of Harry Potter facts.
Oh man.
I will say that, I am kind of glad that we don't wash our clothes in the river anymore.
Yeah.
Because I swear to God, if I see a beautiful woman washing clothes in the river back in the day, I would be so screwed. Because I would be like, don't look at the ground.
Your luck, Barry, it would have been the horrifying, hideous hag you would have seen.
Yeah, and then I would
You wouldn't have wanted to look either way.
probably. Yeah, but then again, if she's like, would you like an apple? I would have been like, yeah, sure, let me have an apple. So yeah, I'm screwed either way, So
Now we're going into Snow White.
I kind of forgot about that.
It was literally the reference you pulled.
I know. I did not do the connection until Z said something. Okay.
Okay. Oh gosh. Okay. Ooh, I like this one. Gnomes are a species of fairy that live in dark areas, particularly underground, deep in woodlands, or in more recent times, in gardens. It is said that if a gnome lives in your garden, it will be blessed. Regardless of their appearance, many of them were originally envisioned as ugly ground-dwelling creatures that were less humanoid than the modern-day depiction. Gnomes have the ability to move through the ground as effortlessly as humans do on the surface. They are exceptionally strong and agile and reputed to have talents in manipulating natural materials. They do have a weakness, however. Should they be caught in the sun, they will immediately turn to stone.
My God, is that why we have so much freaking gnomes out there now? Because they're all freaking stones?
That's it.
Could you
Sorry.
imagine living in Alaska where like half the year is sunlight, so they're all stoned, and the other half they're alive all the time.
But then again, Alaska, they're mostly snow, so there's no freaking gardens or woodlands.
No, it snows it's not always covered in snow.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Very.
most of the time. So, why would you go to Alaska?
It's not.
Okay?
It's not the North Pole.
It should be.
You need to go to Alaska just for that
No.
comment.
I had enough snow for the rest of my life. Okay, I don't want any more snow. I'm good.
Come over here to my sunny beach year round.
Yeah,
No,
you and Solie can just
7 degrees, 70. It's nice.
Dude, yesterday it was -10 over here.
for
So
real.
yeah.
Are gnomes supposed to help with the garden? Do they help you out, or do they just kind of hanging out? This is a real
Yeah,
question.
I'm not sure. I think they just
Hang out.
maybe they have to make it bloom better or something.
It says your garden will be blessed, so
Yeah.
That's what I kind of took it as. Clearly,
So-
we didn't do our research very well. Sorry, listeners.
Okay, so you're saying that fairies hate me because I don't have a house elf. My garden sucks. And most likely I'm gonna have a death fairy, so yeah. So
Holla.
yes.
Very.
Yes.
Stop leaving socks around the house. It's
No.
carrying away the fairies.
I don't
That's what it is.
And the sour milk.
Okay, the sour milk is my fault. Okay, so that and it's
Wait,
not
do you
sour
really
milk.
have sour milk?
I actually don't know.
she has a toddler.
Probably.
I'm sure she has sour milk.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about that aspect. I was just thinking in the fridge.
It's probably somewhere where I haven't checked, and they have placed it somewhere, and they're like, "Yeah, I love your off." What the freaking hell is this crap?
You are being
Oh.
shunned.
Probably. It's my toddler's fault.
You're on the black
blame
list
it all
for
on them.
fairies.
Probably. I am banned.
Alright, I got one more to tell you about today. Elves are human-like fairies that are usually represented in one of two forms: a diminutive creature frequently described in Celtic folklore, or human-sized creatures who often interact with humans. These elves are found in Germanic lore. Both depictions indicate that they are youthful-looking and with extreme beauty. While portrayed as kind and mischievous, they are not usually evil. That is, of course, unless you take Norse lore into consideration, which indicates that there are two types of elves. Light elves are thought to be beautiful and caring and could be seen as guardian of sorts to humans. They were minor gods of nature and fertility, who, through their understanding of magical abilities, could aid or hinder mankind. Who sniffled during that? I am speaking.
I'm sorry.
It's very distracting. I can't work under these conditions.
Her first time here, and we're already scaring her away.
As I'm like coughing, it's yeah. I had COVID last week. Be nice to me.
Solie has COVID this week. Be nice to her.
Why did you show that? Why did you just tell me that? Now I feel like a jerk. Thanks, you guys.
Sorry, I had
to those light elves. Clearly, if I'd be an elf, I don't think I'd be a light elf.
Nope.
They were also frequently a source of inspiration for art or music. Then that's it. Okay. Their antithesis, the dark elves, were said to torment and scare people to such an extent that dark elves were believed to be the source of nightmares. A mare, the name given to dark elves, would perch on their sleeping person's chest, cause terrible nightmares by murmuring tormenting thoughts and imagery. Not even animals were spared. They were known to haunt horses in particular. Hence, I guess that's probably where they got the mare name.
Right.
They do have fear of sunlight, understandably so, as even a tiny bit of exposure would turn them to stone. So, are they cousins to the gnomes?
Okay,
You just might.
this. I might have one of these dark elves. Like, I'm just saying. Okay, I have a lot of nightmares. All right, and it always someone's sitting on my chest. So I really do think I have a dark elf.
Very sleep
get your house
paralysis.
And I don't know. Apparently, it has like torture me on my forehead. So, yeah, just saying, people.
Wow.
I don't understand, like, why the gnomes and the dark elves turned to stone. Like, it's a... Like, we all have heard of gnomes, but I've never heard of dark elves that turned to stone. Or just dark elves in general. Like, I've heard of evil, like, the Solie versus the Unsolie, but
Sealy.
I don't know. That,
The only
The Solie versus the Unsolie.
well, shit. Fire me now.
You're fired.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know why they. I guess probably because they're. Maybe it's like how they're creatures of the night. Maybe because well,
Sorry,
if we're
you
gonna
said
put like things like, huh?
You said Creatures of the Night, and I just like got that song from Rocky Horror Picture Shows.
Oh my god.
So yeah. So like how they say, like I think for most of the I want to say it again, creatures of the night.
Creatures of the Night.
Like for vampires and stuff, they always say like if it comes out in the sunlight, it burns, etc. So I think they just maybe it's just a fairy thing though. Like you will turn to stone if you get touched by light. If you're a dark one, maybe.
Maybe. Because like light is to purify and to help heal. So if they're the creature of the night, then they're
Creatures of the
being
night.
Do they leak out of the North Pole, like where there's only darkness, and then they spread across the globe, realizing, oh, there's sunlight. We shouldn't be out during that time.
No, they came from Alaska.
Well, they are elves, guys.
Yeah, that's the only dark elves I've ever heard about is like in WoW, and that's it.
In
So-
what?
I like to think of elves as Lord of the
World
Rings
of
elves.
Warcraft? Wait, say
Whoa,
that
whoa,
again?
I said I like to think of elves as like Lord of the Rings elves.
Me too. That's the only type of elves I want to think about.
And I
I
guess
never thought of like them as
orcs-
dark elves.
orcs used to be elves, so I guess that would be like the
Yeah,
dark-
maybe
That's
like the
true.
dark ones.
That is true.
I didn't. Yeah. Yeah.
Look at our nerd coming through.
They don't
I don't know,
turn
I
to
just
stone though.
No, they don't.
Yeah, I think of the Lord of the Ring elves, but then I also think of at least in America we have the big indication of the Christmas elves that help Santa Claus. So
That's true.
this is a very different kind
That's
of
a
elf.
different type. Yeah.
But it's
Definitely.
interesting they have the same name.
I think these would be. I was gonna say these would be more along a type of light elf. Maybe they're so
Yeah.
cheerful
I agree.
and helpful.
So the rejects are the dark elves that get discarded. Get out of the North Pole. You're not cheerful enough. I didn't hear that jingle.
They're the
my
ones
God.
that want to be dentists.
Yes.
Also, that was a new word for me, and I had to practice saying that word, antithesis, so many times. So thank you, Solie. I learned a new word, and I'm very happy to have a new word in my vocab.
Hey. Glad to have helped.
Talking about new word. Okay. I'm gonna. So before we went on here, Solie has helped me say this a bunch of times. I'm gonna get it wrong. Okay, ready? So this elf is called Glass Tug. Glass Tug.
Tig.
Glass Tig.
Yes.
Got it somewhat right.
I purposely picked an elf name or a fairy name you couldn't say, Barry. I was like, ooh, that one looks hard.
And I
That would be
purposely
very-
made sure it was the first word you had to say.
Yeah, why did you had to give me all of the hard ones? Okay,
It was
You-
a test.
that I suck at reading and pronouncing names. We all know this, okay?
I'm new here. Okay, I can.
All right. So, glass tugs, tigs,
Tigs.
tigs, glass tigs,
Like Christy
Okay.
Teigen. Teague.
Tig, glass tigs is a beautiful Scottish fairy. Why can't she just have
Why can't
An
she just be
easier name?
a normal Scottish fairy?
right? Why? All right. She wears a flowy green dress and is often found at the water's edge, either washing clothes and dancing to attract young men. What is up with them washing clothes? What is that? Okay, I'm sorry.
I think
All
it
right,
was the
sorry.
time period.
Right, there would have been a lot of women down there washing clothes.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Flaunting their shit. Oh, look at me. I can grab a shirt real good. You know you're interested.
Let me just dance around the lake.
Is that the first time they had wet t-shirt contest?
Probably.
I'm just saying. No, oh, my bad. I got my chest wet. No luck. All right. I'm sorry. Okay. Hold on.
Oh, please.
Well, that made a weird turn.
Sorry. But because when you're washing clothes and you're in the river, you get wet. Unless
Well, they're
You-
not swimming in it.
Yeah,
They're
they're
at the
on the
water's
bank.
edge.
I don't know that. You don't know
Literally,
that.
you said found at the water's edge, either washing clothes or dancing to attract young men.
But wouldn't they be like knee deep in the water trying to like scrub?
No.
I don't know. I don't know.
Possibly.
Because that's what I would do.
I picture two ways. Either they like got their dress all tied up and they're like in the water, like up to their knees, like you were talking about, Barry. Or I picture it like it's like there's cobblestone and it's more industrial, like in the city, and there's just like a waterway and they're kneeling on the edge and their skirts pulled up and they're like leaning over, washing it that way.
Yeah,
I don't know
I
if
can
that's
follow
accurate,
with
but
picture it, and they're rubbing it against the stones.
yeah. Well, who knows? Because we clearly did not research this.
Well,
Well, I mean,
All right.
we weren't really researching ways to wash clothes in olden
they
days.
wash clothes back in the
I
day.
expected better, guys. Kidding.
All right. Back to the topic. Okay, but like a true seductionist, how do you say that?
Seductress.
Yeah, whatever. Seductress. When she lures in her prey, she'll bite the men and suck their blood. Okay, well,
Very vampire-ish.
right. Now, if you're wondering, this sounds like a vampire, don't be mistaken by the Green Maiden has goat legs that are well hidden by her green dress of hers. Though she has bad intention towards men, the
Figure.
the glass tig is protective and nurturing towards children and elderly. Okay, can I just say, why does she have to be a goat?
I don't know.
That
She's only
bites
part
men
goat.
and sucks their blood. But like, I don't know
Maybe
a goat that
with the
sucks their
washing,
blood.
she can bend more.
She can chase them down faster.
Oh my God.
Oh god, I just pictured like if it was cobstone, click, click, click.
So we have something similar in my country, St. Lucia. So, but we call her the La Jablesse, and it's normally a cow's leg that is said, but it's basically the same thing. You would find her like in the woods, or in or if you at the river washing, it would be the same thing, and she would normally steal away children from inattentive parents or if the men are found are wandering through the forest, she would lure them to her and get them lost or lead them to their death over a cliff. And oh my gosh, there's so many different stories about her. But yeah, so she appears as this lovely, beautiful, attractive woman. And if you get a glimpse of her, but she has this long flowing dress, and if you get a glimpse of what's under there, you'll see that she has at least one cow leg.
That is
So, tip to our listeners, don't follow attractive women into the forest.
Or hideous hags.
Just don't follow strange women into the forest.
yeah, right.
Women. That's what I'm getting. Or short men.
Yeah, I don't know. I would hope that, nowadays it would be more common sense to not follow someone in the forest. But,
Barry,
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what you would do.
Okay, I never said I had common sense,
I
okay?
get to see Barry following somebody into the forest, too.
Okay, I would get myself killed because I'm too freaking nosy, and I'd be like, what is this person going in the woods all weirdly? I need to follow and see what happens.
And you try to be all stealthy and then you stepped on a twig.
That would be me, okay? I would be like, tiptoe, crap! That was a branch! And then I would be like, you can't see me. Just close my eyes and can't see me. Can't.
You
It's
whip
like,
her head around.
And then John Cena hand in front of your face.
I think we established if this was ever a movie of the four of us, Barry would be the first to die.
that's really hurtful, okay? Because you are not the first one to announce that. All right? My whole family has announced that. Even husband has announced that. So,
Well, shit, I've known you for many years.
it's really sad, okay? That's why I'm not in a horror movie, and that's probably why I never leave the house.
Sometimes those are the scariest.
Redcaps are malicious and bloodthirsty. They are described as stout old men with red eyes, taloned hands, and huge fangs, dressed in a red cap and wielding a pike staff. Redcaps must kill frequently because if the blood on their hats dries out, they will perish. Despite the fact that they carry heavy iron pikes and wear iron-shod boots, redcaps are extremely swift. It is said that outrunning a redcap is difficult.
It is said that redcaps are cannibals who will kill anyone perceived to be a threat. His red cap is said to be smeared with the blood of his victims. The reason for this is because they must keep their hats dyed with blood, because if it ever dries out, they will die a most horrific death. Who doesn't know what a leprechaun is? The infamous short man from Ireland is a fairy that wears a green suit. The most importantly, they have a pot of gold that everybody wants to find. He is reported to be a solitary man who lives in a royal area and is a shoemaker. His presence is revealed by the sound of his hammer. It is said if he is kidnapped and threatened with bodily harm, he may betray its location, but only if his capture keeps an eye on him. This is very difficult to do as a little guy is a prankster and will vanish as soon as his capture looks away.
I'm just picturing the little guy from the horror movie, The Leprechaun.
God.
Yeah, me too.
I've never seen The Leprechaun.
Oh,
Really?
it is totally worthy watching. It is a B-rated horror movie, and it's fantastic.
It is.
Yeah. And I didn't know that he was a shoemaker.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
So that was new.
Well,
and that
He has to make
was
his
very-
gold money somehow. Come on, guys.
Well, I thought they made gold.
That's what I thought too.
I thought that was their power, was that they were able to make gold. That's why people
No.
wanted to take them. And I didn't know he was a fairy.
Yeah, me neither.
Or
Yeah.
Yeah, me either.
so yeah.
He's a very interesting looking fairy. That's for sure.
Right?
They like
Or-
a lot of green. I've noticed. A lot of the fairies
Well-
wear green.
They have to blend in the,
Nature.
in the surrounding area. But, now we don't have a lot of greenery, so it's a lot of cities, so
Theoretically, they should be easier to spot now.
that is true. Or, they've all turned into stone. So that would explain, the abundance of gnomes everywhere.
Now, that just made me realize, I don't think I'll ever kick a stone gnome in a yard ever.
Why
Just
would
like-
you-
Well,
Okay,
just,
first of all, why
mad,
would you
like in The
kick?
Sims, and they kick the stone.
I was just gonna say, like in The Sims when they would go out and kick the gnome.
kick it.
I'm sorry, but those gnomes are a pain in my butt, okay? I was like, no, not cute. I gave a gnome something, and he hated it, and all of a sudden, every freaking pipe in my house burst.
Oh,
And
in The
then-
Sims.
Innocent.
That's why you just
Oh,
put them
and-
in your inventory and sell them.
And then,
That sounds hard.
yeah.
They're worth like
and then my
250
girl
simoleons.
died. And then my girl died. After she pissed herself. So.
In her flooded house.
In her flooded house. Like, everything was breaking. Yeah. I will never have those gnomes ever again.
I was just
saying.
picturing the cute little gnomes you buy that you can put it in your like real garden. Those are the ones I was saying were cute. Not the sim gnomes. Fuck those.
Really, those gnomes still give me the creeps. Like, I do not like gnomes in the real gardens.
Really?
Really, especially when you're like, going into your backyard late at night, and then something's just staring at you. It's like, hey, what's up? What are you staring at me for? And it just keeps following you everywhere. Yeah, I do not like gnomes. Okay.
I can just picture you like out there with your gnomes talking to him in the middle of the night. Stop following me! Your name should be like, what the hell's wrong with her?
Yeah, that would be so. Yep. Yep.
Crazy lady outside again.
But let's be honest, we all know Barry. She wouldn't be going outside because she'd be too afraid, and it's too cold.
It is really cold outside.
It is okay. I'm sorry. It's freaking freezing during winter here. Okay, just saying. Well, you guys during winter, like your coldest is maybe 60 degrees, maybe. Like literally, right now it's 17 degrees outside. Feels like 12, and that's our warmer day. So, don't want you be complaining about your coldness over there.
Hey, I have lived in snow. I know how it feels. I actually enjoyed the snow. But
Okay, you're sick. You're sick.
Did that. He scraped the ice off.
Yeah, you're sick. All right. So,
Enjoying what you've heard so far? Be sure you never miss an episode by following us. Thank you for your support. Now back to the show.
the Monticello are a type of house fairy from Italy that protects wine cellars. Other than owning a winery, I am not sure how helpful these red-hooded companions would be. I certainly don't have a cellar full of wine. Not that I wish I didn't. Which, you know what? Okay, I think all women should have at least a little bit of a wine cellar. Okay? Or like a little fridge for just their wine.
Seconded.
Just saying.
Third.
Just saying.
Motion passed.
Time is spoken.
Anyways, if you happen to find one in your home, make sure to leave it some wine as an offering, and he will be happy to guard your place. Personally, this sounds like the best gig compared to the rest of the house fairies. Also, Monticello means little monk. How cute does that sound? Best yet, it sounds like if you snugged his little hood, you earned his treasure. Okay, I really do think that is the best gig ever.
I want a Monticello fairy.
Yeah. Just give him a little wine. You have a drinking buddy. Sounds
Right?
perfect. Now
Right?
his red hat. You get a treasure. I want to know what that treasure is, but
I hope it's chocolate.
or cheese.
Oh yeah.
Or both. It's just it's a cheese platter. We're simple-minded, aren't we?
Do you like to dance and have a clean home? Who doesn't like to dance and have a clean home? Like, I wish I had a clean home. I'm just saying. Just saying. We have found your match. The Tamra is a small Finnish fairy. How do you say that? Finnish?
Yeah.
Right? Who is charming in his brown clothes and green hat. Did I say charming? Well, for the most part, he is. Sometimes he's cranky, but only when he thinks you're lazy. Oh, crap. Or have dirty floors. Well, that's another tick.
Just say that whole sentence.
Yeah, no, because I am lazy, so he is grumpy with me. And I have dirty floors, so he is more grumpy with me. I have 2 ticks right there. Great. Great. He will literally have a temper tantrum, and throw small objects across your home. So, is he a toddler?
Mm-hmm. Sounds like it.
He's a short little man in brown clothes and a green hat with those tantrum dogs.
So he's my son. He's my toddler. Awesome.
Yeah.
So I do have a fairy. Does it happen?
I'm going to send him a green hat now.
But don't worry.
Some brown clothes.
He was wearing brown clothes today. And he was very cranky part of the day. Because he had toys all over and he couldn't run around. So yeah. So I had a fairy today. But don't worry, all of his looking for is to be respected and given a warm home and a full belly. Huh, maybe. Perhaps you can see past his shortcomings because he will help you strive for a sparkly, shiny floor we all wish we had. No, he just tries to drool on you. So,
strangle you when he gives you a hug.
yeah. So, I don't like he's not striving to help me. He does the disasters.
Oh, he's helping you strive for that sparkling shiny floor by making you do all the work.
Well, he throws things across your house.
Yeah, so it's like you try, but you fail. So he makes a bigger mess.
And look, you missed a spot.
That sounds like my kids. Yeah. So
he doesn't sound like a very helpful fairy.
No. Unless your house is already clean, then he'll be happy and he won't be cranky. But if your house is dirty, he won't do anything besides make it more of a mess and then be cranky at you.
And all he do is the flaws. Just the flaws.
I think so. He's just obsessed with clean floors. But to be fair, I feel like if you have clean floors, the rest of your house is gonna kind of follow suit with that.
Yeah.
Floors are usually clean last, at least when I do my cleaning routine. I do everything and then I clean the floor.
Same.
Yeah, me too.
See? I'm onto something.
So, we're moving on to the puka, who is a type of fairy with the head of a person and the body of a horse.
What is up with these fairies being part animal,
right?
Part human.
I just want to roam.
Yeah, it's almost like I keep thinking, in Greek mythology, Zeus just slept. Well, the gods on the whole, they just slept with all different types of.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, so there were so many, halflings. Yeah. So yes, so they roam fields of planted crops and are very mischievous, robbing farmers of their harvest. Especially any crops that haven't been harvested by Samhain or Halloween. The puka has almost no care for children and has been known to harm cattle as well. Keep an eye on your children, since the puka is on the prowl for the ideal youngster to abduct and replace with a changeling. And a changeling, by the way, is a fairy child who takes the place of a human child. That's a scary thought, right? Yeah.
Why? What's the point of that? Do they eat the children? I don't understand.
They take them back to fairy as slaves, and they have you raise their children, but their children are usually sickly or just problem children.
So this was how they explained away children with special needs.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, pukas are usually observed after Samhain and before midsummer, but never in the middle. You risk meeting a puka if you gather plants after sunset.
Oh,
okay.
So, the slua. These shadow spirits are malicious face spirits who frequently travel in groups that resemble a flock of birds intertwined with shadows. They try to break into houses of those who are dying in order to steal their souls to join their ranks. They're frequently spotted during Halloween at the Feast of the Dead. Slua should be avoided since they are said to be too evil even for the underworld.
Those sound
Snaps.
terrifying.
Yeah.
I just thought of Peter Pan looking for a shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the Umbra, these are the spirit of the dead. Well, I guess it's similar to the Slua, but they are maybe the earliest sort of spirit we can associate with the Fae. In English, they are known as shades because they are born from the world's shadows and gloom and exist as actual living shadows. And I'm going to reference the Dark Fever shades.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, guys, Dark Fever is the book of the month that we read for our Dark Corners book club.
Whoop, whoop.
You get more information on that after the show. So yes, guys, what do you think? Do you think like maybe, I immediately thought of the shades from the book for that, definitely.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's like, that would be terrifying. Just like, ever come across that in real life? Because it was kind of like in our movie that we watched for the month. Where they had to have the lights on all the time. Because that's what you would have to do.
I think these are just things to make you more afraid of the dark. Like, because you wouldn't want to venture out in the dark. You wouldn't want to,
It's kind of like a folklore, like to say, like kind of like I'm thinking towards like teens and children, like you should be in bed and don't go out partying.
Yeah,
because these will get you in the shadows.
Yeah. So we're going on to the Jiankana and the Lihanshi. These fae are the equivalents of incubi and succubi, respectively. According to certain legends, each Jiankana contains two different individuals, a brother and a sister. Purebloods may change genders just as easily. Jiankana has a penchant for seducing shepherdesses and milkmaids, appearing as an extremely gorgeous man, usually her ideal fantasy. But the instant she touches him, she becomes mortally infatuated. He eventually becomes bored and abandons her, and she wastes away waiting for him till she dies. On the other hand, the Lihanshi attempts to seduce males. If she fails, she will be forced to serve them. If she is successful, she feeds on their life force until they die or find another guy to take their place. And once again, I'm going to reference the Grey Man and Grey Lady from Dark Fever.
I was actually kind of thinking of like Vlaine.
Really? In terms of like how he in terms of the
gorgeous man, ideal fantasy, becomes morally infatuated. Yeah, they do like those death by sex fee. Yeah, I agree with that. But then I'm thinking like the Grey Man appears. He's horribly monstrous in reality, but then he glamours himself to be such a beautiful, attractive man, and you fall for him, and then he steals your beauty. It's a different sort of it, But I thought of that's the first thing that I thought of. I didn't think of Lane, but you say it, and I can see it too.
They're kind of like a mixture of the two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would not want to see that man.
Either. Well, we wouldn't know until it was too late. But for me, I just know, I would get so speechless. Like, if I see this guy, any guy that I'm like super attracted to, I get speechless. I can't talk to you. So there's no way that I would have been caught in this. I'd be like, you're talking to me?
I could just picture you like looking around like, wait, you made that contact with me?
Yeah. And I'm like, no, it can't be me. So the Dullahan, or the Headless Horseman, is a sort of fae found in Irish folklore. This frightening figure has the appearance of a man or woman riding a black horse, but the rider lacks a head on their shoulders. The Dullahan usually holds its head under one arm, with a ghastly smile stretched over its face from ear to ear. The head seems dead and rotting. As if this was not creepy enough, guys, the Dullahan is said to carry a whip made of the human spine and draws and draws a wagon made from human remains.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
No,
when
thank
the
Why?
when the Dullahan-
Sorry.
It's okay. When a Dullahan stops riding, a person is destined to die, and when a Dullahan speaks the individual's name, the victim dies instantly. There is no way to stop a Dullahan from entering your home. No locks can keep them out, and if they catch you watching them go about the duties, they will mark you next for death by dumping a bucket of blood magically. And if you're lucky, you will just get a lash of their whip. One thing that will scare a Dullahan, however, is a very simple thing, and even a drop of it will scare the Dullahan away, and that is gold. Even the tiniest drop of gold, they will run away.
I'm gonna go catch me a leprechaun.
For real.
Yes. Yes, but then I immediately, because they said, of course, the headless horseman, I immediately thought of that movie. I know, Z, you must know that movie, but I can't remember the name. Oh my gosh.
About Ichabod Crane?
Yes!
The headless
Wait, what?
horseman.
Yes.
I just think of the movie or the show,
Sleepy
the
Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow. Sleepy Hollow, yes. Yes. I thought of that one. I mean, the way he used to come out from, it looked like he was coming through a different, like a portal, right? So maybe it was coming in from Fairy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be possible.
Yeah.
It's a good
I can
Johnny
just see
Depp
someone
movie.
like jumping onto his horse and like, "Don't say it," and putting their finger up to his lips. Don't say my name.
Shush!
You cannot speak.
No, you would be speechless. You'd be so frightened. Imagine you standing on the side of the road, and you just see it's not, it's dark and spooky as it's supposed to be, and you hear the wagon wheels going. The wagon wheels are coming, and you look up. You see this person without a head on a horse pulling a wagon, and you see that little creepy smile from under their arm.
Not even just like a wagon made of human remains.
Human remains, yes.
Like at that point, just
I guess he's recycling.
There's no way. Like, I would be struck dumb, deaf, everything at that point.
This is what we gotta do, guys. We gotta get 2 pairs of sunglasses, put them on the front, put your hair kind of like all messed up, and then put a pair in the back. And then if he questions whether you've seen him or not, be like, "No, you were looking at the back of my head. Sorry, I saw nothing."
these were just my spare shades.
Yes. And
They're my daytime shades.
Maybe you should get your eyes checked.
oh my gosh. So, with that scary thought, we end today's discussion on the Fae. Would you take the chance of having a fairy help you around the house? Or encounter any of the others out in the open? Which of the above intrigued you the most?
I
I'll
just
take that
the
Monticello.
Yeah. I want the Monticello fairy.
Yeah.
You know, if a gnome would bless my garden, because you all don't know because you haven't really seen my garden, but I can use some help in the garden department. So, if they're willing to be nice to me, I'd be okay with a gnome in my backyard. I think they're cute.
Can you just pick them up and spin them in a circle and toss them like in Harry Potter?
That would be interesting.
This is like such a scary idea of all these horror, creepy fairies out there, because most of them are like mean and evil, or will attack you.
It's interesting to see all the different like horror movies that have been basically created off of these types of fairies, if even if they're not mentioned as being fairies.
Yeah.
And this was just like a small portion of all the different fairies out there. There was so many that I found, and I was like, oh my gosh.
There were tons and tons.
How did people come up with all these?
Yeah. That's weird, man. Yes. And like we said in the beginning, a lot of, even all around the they basically do the same task. They just have different names. So, and I guess the latter part of the fairies that we spoke about would be more under the Solie cast than anything else, because they're like super creepy and scary.
Would then the Monticello, would that be a Solie fairy?
Maybe a neutral fairy.
Yeah, I think it would be a neutral fairy.
Yeah. I mean, like the Sloa and the Umbra and the Headless Horseman, like these are like super creepy. And I think when I was reading, not for research, but they said that the Sloa, if it is sent after you, there is no escaping it. Like that was something that the Unsili King would pull out from the depths of his not his dungeons, but like I don't know, like if the Sloa is ever after you, you cannot outrun it. It will get you. So it was something that all fairies feared, regardless of the court that you're in. So yeah, creepy as hell, all of them.
Do you guys actually believe that they exist?
Wait, what?
Do you guys believe in fairies?
To a point.
Yeah.
To a point. But then again, you have to look at it as like, to me, every lore or every story out there has a little bit of truth. Because we've been around this, like, it could be to the point where we don't have them now, but like back in the day, probably there was some type of like, how did they become, Nobody's going to be like, hey, by the way, this person, if you ever see a person with hooves and washing clothes, it's going to kill you. I just think, like...
I mean, I don't know. I guess they could have just been created to explain away things like serial killers and...
That's kind of how I picture them.
Yeah.
But, like, if you actually think about it, like... Are all... Like... If you want to go all the way, like... What if, like... Most of the serial killers, what if they weren't really human?
Yeah. Because I was gonna say, I agree with what Barry is saying. My thing is not so much so that they're not around anymore, but more that they don't reveal themselves to us anymore. Yeah, that is what I think. Because if history has to show itself and repeat itself, we've all seen that humans tend to take advantage of things, and they do it with each other, right? So anything that is peculiar or strange, at first they might try to be open and welcoming, but after a while they do get abusive of it, and or they do try to experiment on it, or they always do something weird. And I believe that these things are out there and they just decide to not show themselves to us. That's what I think. That's what I think. Because
I think so too.
Yeah, even when talking about like things like the La Jablesse, which was just like the glass teague, these things, they're still out there. I believe in my country that because we are a small population on the island isn't very big, but we're mostly on the coastal, like all our communities on the coastal side. The middle of our island has not been explored. It hasn't been explored, and there are still people who, of course, and that's understandable too. It's easy to say that they go in, they get lost, etc. But I have had a personal experience. Well, not me, but my cousin did. So
That changed quick.
yes, I know somebody who had that experience, and it changed him from the up to a day like today. This boy does not speak one word of the English language, and it's not because I'm not saying that he speaks a strange language or a different language, but he speaks our second language, which is Creole, French Creole. He was taken as a child for maybe a week or so by what we call a la diablesse, and he was found sitting on a rock, eating bugs and stuff, like a week after, and he was fascinated with anything shiny, like the light bulbs and stuff. He would play with it. Like my grandmother, there was no bulbs in the house that she could keep without him unscrewing it to play with it. And he just stopped speaking English, and he would only speak Creole. Up to a day like today, he does not speak a word of English.
Oh, wow.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah. And so that is why I do believe that there are things, and my grandmother has experienced things as well. But I think as modern age came to be, these things fell back a bit.
Yeah.
They pulled away from modern society. That's what I think.
I feel like I can believe in fairies somewhere like your island because it's just it's exotic and
Yeah.
different. I have a hard time believing in fairies, you know, in the
I'd like to believe in fairies, but
Right.
I don't actually
kinda-
believe in fairies.
But what if it's
like,
not
I want
happening in plain sight for you guys? Like, what if they're walking amongst you guys in glamour and you don't know?
trust me, there's nobody walking in Pennsylvania glamoured. It's just not happening. Especially in rural Pennsylvania.
It could be the hideous hag.
That okay, maybe. That maybe.
But if you've seen her, that's a problem.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I think about like, what if like, you know, they are the ones that are like making things happen. And come on, I'm missing socks. Okay, I'm missing freaking socks. Who's taking the freaking socks?
And never
You
to
also
be
have
seen
the
again.
Yeah, never, ever seen again. Like.
Now, have you actually opened your like washing machine?
I was
Like,
just gonna
not
say.
just open the lid, but actually take it apart.
Barry's got like 30,000 socks along the inside of the drum.
I don't know. I don't want to take apart my washing machine. Maybe I don't know how to put it back together.
I'm just saying that might be where all your socks are.
Is my washing machine a fairy? Because freaking hell. Socks are expensive, okay?
I guess I could just kind of see, like, maybe some of this possibly having some kind of truth to it. But I think most of it is just stories made up to explain things that people didn't understand. Like, like a mass murderer or a kidnapper.
Somebody with a vivid imagination of bubbles. The Alvins, where they carried themselves over the river in a bubble. I think some kid was just like,
Was it a
what if the
vase?
little tiny person was in that bubble and they're just floating across? That's what I picture.
I mean, when you hear a story like the one Solie just told us, like, yeah, like that definitely seems like there's some kind of something paranormal
behind it.
happened
Yeah.
there. Like that
Yeah.
seems really strange.
Yeah.
But again, like, that's like such an exotic location.
Yeah, right.
Like, my mind lets me believe that it's something like paranormal would happen there.
Well, you know what, guys? I won't say it on the air, but there are so many more stories. This is why I was telling you guys. I used to love scaring myself by listening to the elder people tell these stories. I have a whole bunch of stories having to do with these things. A whole bunch. So whenever you guys are ready, I'm more than happy to tell you guys some more about them.
That sounds like a Patreon thing.
I was gonna say, we should have an episode where you just tell us a story, like, once a month. Why not?
We'll see how it goes.
I'm just saying, story time.
Story time. Alright, so let's talk about Darkness Falls. So we watched Darkness Falls this month, and I personally love this movie. I remember going to see it in the theater when it came out and being super creeped out. And I think the storyline's, like, pretty unique. I love the idea of a scary tooth fairy. And even though the story of Matilda isn't real, it doesn't seem out of the ordinary that a society would turn on a member of the community that was previously held in high regard due to an injury that caused an outward change.
Right.
Like, that just seems so human of us.
Yeah.
So after her face was burned, she went from being the sweet old lady who gave kids coins for their teeth to someone to be weary of for literally no reason. Nothing about her changed except for her outward appearance.
Yeah.
Well, what did she do with those teeth?
She probably made jewelry or something. Her personality didn't right? People do that, though. Her personality didn't change, yet they were so quick to blame her for when 2 children went missing. And not only did they blame her, but they put her to death that day.
Right? And then the next day, they were found.
Right.
They
like,
came back home.
It just speaks volumes about us as a society and how we relate to those who we see as other or different.
Right? And I love how, like, they went missing for a day. And then they came back just strolling into town.
Damn kids.
Right?
They ruined an entire life. And Betty, all the other lives that were killed by the Tooth Fairy. Right?
The blood is on those kids' hands.
Yeah.
I thought the cast was well-rounded and they related to one another really well. The interactions were believable and no one overacted their part. Chaney Clay was great as Kyle, and his character was awesome with the way he related to Michael and wanted to help him. And I really recommend checking this film out if you haven't already.
Yes, I totally agree.
I have to say, though, like, it's weird she attacked the kids, like, because that's essentially who she goes after, is kids when they, I think, hit, like, it's their last baby tooth that comes out.
Yep.
And, it could be, I guess, all the teeth, but we know it's the last baby tooth.
It's the last baby tooth. But she said, but she doesn't attack unless you look at her face.
But you would think her grudge would have been against the adults in that village or town. Not kids.
But people care about children more. And, like, that was... And, really, if I'm getting blamed for something that I didn't do, it kind of, you know, like, those kids, they didn't go stroll out the woods.
Fuck those kids.
Yeah, like, you know, I would be pissed off too. Just saying.
I think I would have just been more angry at the parents, like, really? Okay. So, I don't know. I just found that was interesting how she would attack the kids, not the adults.
Yeah, I think maybe in a little bit she probably blamed it on them. So that's why, like, you know, I still want your teeth, but I totally hate you, you suck.
I still want your teeth. Give me your teeth.
Again, what is she doing with those teeth?
She's making necklaces, okay, Karen?
Well, bye, Felicia.
Yeah, but this was a totally cool movie. I remember seeing it years ago as well, and I really liked it. And even seeing it now, there is I don't know, I like the story behind it. I do like the story. I do wonder, I guess I just kind of answered it. I did wonder, I should say, what would have caused her to go from being this sweet personality to being such a monster after death. But then we did cover that already. It's because of the way that she died, the manner in which it was done, and the way she was treated, etc. But I do like how things worked out in the end, and it wasn't one of those movies where the ending left you like WTF,
Yeah, like most of them are.
Yes. It was a good case of the good guys won in the end, and I was happy for that, although it was a hell of a battle to get there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and okay, I'm sorry, but to me, if I was a kid and I heard something in my room, I would not be peeking out of those covers until lights come back on.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm in a fetal position in the middle of the bed with the blanket wrapped all around me.
Yeah.
Right? Moving an inch.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hyperventilating.
Or doing the like
eyes squeezed tight.
Yeah. And I love it remember when we were scared as kids and we would be like holding our breath? Yeah. But that just made us like, and then we would hold it, and then we'd go, like what was our problem? Like, it wasn't helping anything.
Well, scary shit like this, that was our problem.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. I will say that I did have to leave the lights on afterwards. Even though, like, it wasn't really that scary, but, like, I don't know. I didn't want to take any chances.
Do you have baby teeth still, Barry?
No, still, But it was funny because, like, I had to go shovel snow outside at night, and I was, like, shoveling, and then I, like, saw that I was, like, in the shadow, and I was like, well, if that movie was freaking, like, real, I would be so screwed right now. And I kept on shoveling. Yeah. I'm like, well, I'm out of the light. I'm screwed. But yeah, just, Plus, I don't know. I don't like the dark. I hate the dark. But at the same time, I do like the dark. Sometimes. Sometimes.
I get that because, like, for the longest while, the light in my bathroom was out. And I kept saying every time, I'm going to change it. Oh. and I never got around to it. And I was sleeping in the dark the whole time. And I finally put in a new light maybe sometime last week. And I've been sleeping with the bathroom light on every night. And I'm like, how the hell was I sleeping?
See, that is the one room that I cannot have no light in, is a bathroom. See? I always have to have a light on.
I used to be like that, and then I like had thought about it. I was like, I feel like an adult now. I can wake up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom without having to turn on the light. I'm not scared anymore. But then if I start thinking about it, then I have to, because I'm like, oh, Bloody Mary.
Well, I have to turn the light on to go into my bathroom because our bathroom is like strange. So like, that too. But my house is an old mining house, so when it was built, it didn't have a bathroom. There was an outhouse.
Sure. I'm just picturing you walking in the snow to the outhouse.
So like, they took part of a bedroom and turned it into a bathroom. So it's like a real long, thin room. So it's like you walk through the door and the shower's like right in your fucking face. And then you have to turn, and then you have to walk down like a kind of like corridor almost to get to the sink and the toilet.
So you're saying that your bathroom is like a Sims bathroom?
Yeah!
Where you totally forgot to put a freaking bathroom after you built a house. So you try to figure out how to
finagle it in there? Yeah.
And then you remeasure and you're like, okay, the sim can like go past the shower to get to the toilet.
It's literally like one tile between my shower and my wall.
Yep, a sim's bathroom.
Hey, barricading it will be really easy now.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so collectively, yes on
Yes.
Falls.
Yes.
Go watch it.
Yeah, go watch it.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us for this month's episode. Have a paranormal story you want to share? Some creepy photos or videos? A horror movie or horror game you'd like to hear us review and discuss? Drop us an email at blackcatcrossingzabs, ZABS, @gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. You can also connect with us directly on our Discord server. Come hang out with us and get to know the people behind the voices. The link can be found on our profile on Instagram. Also, be sure to check out Dark Corners, where we'll be discussing books relating to each topic we're covering this month. You can join the discussion by becoming a Patreon, or you can listen to the book review, which will be released the same day as the podcast. You can keep up with all we're doing on the podcast by following us on our Instagram at Black Cat Crossing Podcast, on Facebook at Black Cat Crossing Podcast, and on Twitter at Black Cat Crossy 2. You can also head over to the website www.blackcatcrossing.co, where you can check out the current episode or catch up on prior ones. We'll see you next time.
In the unknown.